I remember the moon bleeding red through the twisted canopy. Then I heard it, a slow, deliberate breathing, right behind me. I never turned around. I didn't want to know what was breathing with me in the blood forest. Nightbound Bloodline presents 10 witness accounts from survivors of the Romanian Blood Forest Incident. What you are about to hear are first-hand testimonies, some reluctant, some haunted, all real. They come from people who lived through the nightmare unfolding in the shadowed depths of Romania's notorious blood forest. They asked for their names to be changed, but their stories remain untouched. This is not folklore or legend. This is a chilling document of a place where myth and reality collided under a blood-red moon. Witness Account 1, A Mechanic's Nightmare. My name's Andre. I'm 34, a mechanic from Brasov. Normally, my nights are spent under the hood of cars, grease-stained and focused. I'm not a man of superstitions or ghost tales. I need proof, something real. That night, I was working a late repair job on a client's Jeep parked near the edge of the forest. It was late summer, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and pine. The moon was full, crimson in color, the kind of blood moon that always fell off, but I thought nothing of it. The forest behind the yard was silent, but for the occasional rustle of leaves. Normal, I thought. Then a shift, the silence thickened unnaturally. I felt eyes on me, but saw nothing at first. The hairs on my neck prickled. A low, wet stench crept in, musky and rotten, like decay mixed with animal fur. I brushed it off as a wild beast nearby. Then came the snapping of a twig, deliberate, heavy footfalls pacing just beyond my sight. When I glanced up, I caught a glimpse, towering over 7 feet, fur as dark as night, but matted with a slick shine, like wet leather. Its limbs were wrong, too long, too thin, yet powerful. The creature's head, it wasn't quite a wolf's or a human's, but something in between. Its eyes glowed with an eerie amber intelligence, not animal, but something calculating. It moved silently on 2 legs, balancing poised like a man, but with a predatory grace that made my blood run cold. Then it locked eyes with me and tilted its head, like it was sizing me up. My legs refused to move. The thing took a step closer, then another, until the stench filled my nostrils. I turned and ran, heart pounding, breath ragged. Behind me, I heard a low growl, the forest alive with unseen movements. I didn't look back until I reached my car. My hands shook for hours that night, sweat soaking my shirt. I quit that job and never went near the blood forest again. This experience shattered my world. I was a man of logic before. Now I'm haunted by what I can't explain. Witness Account 2, The Forest Ranger's Reckoning. My name is Soren, 42 years old. I've been a forest ranger for over 20 years, patrolling the Carpathian woods that guard the blood forest's edges. Skepticism is part of my job. I rely on facts, tracking signs, and the law of the land. I don't believe in monsters or folklore. That's what made that night so harrowing. It was late September, dry and crisp. The moon hung full, spilling a red glow through the skeletal branches of the forest. The air smelled sharp with pine resin and frost. I was on my routine patrol, checking for illegal logging, when the radio crackled oddly, static, then silence. The forest felt off, dead quiet, like the air was holding its breath. I slowed, scanning the shadows. Then it hit me, faint footsteps, but no human shape. They were uneven, heavy, and coming closer through the underbrush. I called out, but got only silence in return. That silence was heavier than the night itself. I saw movement between the trees, a muscular figure, standing upright but unnervingly distorted. It was covered in thick, tangled fur, black with streaks of matted red, like dried blood. Its hands ended in sharp claws, and its face was a cruel mixture of man, wolf, and something else, with sunken, glowing eyes, yellow and cold, yet burning with awareness. It stalked closer with deliberate steps, never breaking eye contact, a hunter assessing its prey. The way it moved was horribly smooth, but with a feral tension, like a trap ready to spring. No growls, no snarls, just a quiet, deliberate advance. I drew my flashlight, but the beam flickered and died. The creature paused, then let out a low, guttural noise, almost like a challenge. My fear twisted into something primal, and I ran, branches scratching me, breath burning cold in my lungs. Behind me came the thunder of pursuit, pounding feet shaking the earth. Once clear, I didn't stop until I reached my truck far down the path. My hands trembled violently as I started the engine. I haven't returned to that part of the forest since. I tell myself this was real. I'm not crazy. That was no animal. Witness account 3, The Photographer's Nightmare. My name's Elena, I'm 29, and I'm a freelance photographer. Someone who's usually behind the camera, I don't do well with surprises. I don't buy into ghost or monster stories. I am all about capturing the tangible. I was in the Blood Forest to capture shots of wildlife and the eerie landscapes that seemed frozen in time. It was dusk, the sky a molten mix of purple and blood-red hues. The smell of wet moss and decayed leaves was strong in the cool air. Everything seemed so beautiful until the light began to fade and the forest's silence deepened unnaturally. I felt at first a prickling sensation on the back of my neck, like icy fingers tracing my spine. The usual bird calls were gone, replaced by a thick, suffocating quiet. Something moved, just beyond the trees, snapping twigs, heavy, slow footsteps. Then I saw it. A creature far larger than any wolf, standing upright but hunched. Its fur was patchy, slick as though soaked in something dark. Its face was a nightmare, wolf's snout, sharp teeth visible in a half-growl, but eyes like liquid obsidian, deep and unsettling. It didn't rush. It watched me, almost curious, tilting its massive head. The creature stepped forward with a twisted grace, its limbs ending in terrible claws that gleamed faintly under the blood moon. I raised my camera, shaking, but the creature suddenly let out a strange, low sound, almost a mimicry of human breathing. It moved sideways, blocking the path out. I was trapped, frozen in place, heart pounding like a war drum. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished into the shadows, leaving only the echo of its breathing and the smell of decay. I fled, breathless and cold, my camera forgotten on the ground. The photographs from that night showed more than I ever wanted to see. Shadows where no light should be fallen, and a pair of glowing eyes lurking just beyond the frame. Witness account 4, The Hunter's Last Stand. My name's Mihai. I'm 38, and I've hunted around the Carpathians all my life. I grew up chasing deer and boar, tracking every breath and footprint in the wild. I'm practical. I respect nature, but don't believe in fairy tales. That October night was cold, the kind of chill that seeps through your bones. The blood moon above was swollen and red, casting long, sickly shadows through the trees. I was deep in the forest, setting a trap for a boar near a clearing. The smell of damp wood and wet leaves filled the air. I remember thinking the woods were too quiet. At first, just the feeling, a heavy silence that swallowed all other sounds. My skin prickled, like something unseen was crawling over it. Then I caught movement from the corner of my eye. A towering figure gliding through the brush with unnatural speed and silence. I saw it fully then. A monstrous beast with broad shoulders covered in coarse, dark fur streaked with rusty red. Its claws were long and curved like knives, and its face was a grotesque mask. Long snout, sharp teeth bared in a snarl, eyes glowing with a fiercely intelligent, almost human cunning. It moved like no animal I've ever seen. Upright, poised to strike, muscles rippling under the fur. It circled slowly, fixing me with a cold, calculating stare. The thing knew I was there. It was hunting me. I lifted my rifle, hands shaking, but before I could fire, it let out a sound, a horrible mix of growl and human scream that echoed through the trees. I dropped the gun and bolted, dashing blindly through undergrowth, feeling its breath on my neck. I escaped with nothing but the scratches on my arms and a shattered peace of mind. I haven't hunted near the Blood Forest since. I don't want to meet it again, and I'll never forget the way it looked at me like I was prey. It wasn't just a beast. It was something else entirely. Witness account 5, The Lost Tourist. My name's Victor, 27 years old, just a tourist looking for adventure. I'm an easy skeptic, the kind who laughs at ghost stories and legends. My trip to the Romanian mountains was supposed to be a fun escape. I never expected anything else. It was late summer, a clear night, but with that eerie blood-red moon washing the forest in crimson light. I went for a hike near the Blood Forest, hoping to catch some night shots of the stars. The forest's edge was thick with shadow, smells of wet earth and pine deepening as I stepped inside. At first, peaceful. Then, a creeping sense of being watched. The silence was deafening. No birds, no rustle. Just a slow, rhythmic sound like something big moving through dead leaves. Then the foul smell hit me, sickly sweet with decay and musk. I turned and there it was, a massive figure, taller than any man by at least a foot, standing upright but hunched. Its fur was coarse and wild, flecked with dark red. Its elongated snout was dripping with saliva, and eyes, bright and unervingly sharp, locked onto mine. It stepped slowly towards me, deliberate and calm, its claws clicking faintly on the forest floor. I froze, heart frozen in my chest, and then started running, desperate for the edge of the forest. I could hear it behind me, moving faster, closing in with every step. I tripped, fell, and when I looked up, the thing was right there, staring down at me, tilting its head as if curious. I screamed and scrambled to my feet, sprinting like my life depended on it, because it did. I made it out, but the forest and those eyes have haunted my dreams ever since. I'm not afraid to say, this wasn't some wild animal. It was something terrible and real. Witness account 6, The Local Farmer's Dread. My name's Ali. I'm 56, a farmer living on the outskirts of the Blood Forest. I'm a practical man, worked the land all my life, never believed in fairy tales or monster stories. The forest was just trees and animals. That was before. It was autumn, and the air was crisp with that wood smoke sting. The blood moon bathed the fields in an eerie red glow. I was finishing chores late, feeding the animals near the edge of the woods. The usual night noises were missing. No crickets, no rustle of mice. Just a heavy silence pressing down. Then I smelled it, a thick, musky stench, like wet fur mixed with rot. My dog started growling in the shadows, hackles raised. I looked up and saw something looming just inside the tree line. It stood upright, massive and covered in dirty fur stained dark red. Its eyes were the worst, glowing orange, burning through the dark with a predatory intelligence. The head was elongated but disturbingly human around the eyes and mouth. It didn't move animal-like, but with a slow, deliberate calculation. It stepped forward, claws clicking on dry leaves. I backed away slowly, not wanting to provoke it. It stopped and stared a long, terrible stare that froze my blood. Then it turned and slipped silently back into the trees. I barely slept that night. That thing isn't like anything I've seen or heard of before. It's real, and it's out there. Witness account 7, The Camper's Twilight Horror. My name's Anka, 31 years old. I'm an outdoors enthusiast, always chasing the next great camping spot. I'm not one to believe in myths or legends. Nature, to me, is about beauty and challenge, not monsters. In late summer, I camped near a clearing in the Blood Forest under a crimson moon. The air was dry, heavy with pine and earth. At first, everything was calm, birdsong fading, stars twinkling. Then the noises stopped, like someone flipped a switch. The silence was heavy, pressing in around my tent. I thought I heard breathing, slow, deep, and wet. My skin crawled. Outside, something moved, slow steps, careful and deliberate. I peeked through the tent flap and saw it. A towering creature, fur patchy and dark, smeared with stains that looked like dried blood. Its eyes caught the moonlight, yellow, intelligent, and cruel. It looked straight at me, tilting its head as if amused. It didn't move forward, but stayed, blocking my way silently. That moment stretched into something endless, fear gripping tight. Then, without warning, it vanished, swallowed by the night. I packed up at dawn and left that place behind, but the echo of those glowing eyes haunts me still. Witness Account 8, The Veteran's Return. My name is Petru, 45 years old, a former soldier who fought in the mountains. I've faced many dangers, but never anything like what I saw in the Blood Forest. It was an October night, bitter cold, and the blood moon was casting a sickly red light through the bare branches. I was back in the area, visiting old comrades, when I decided to take a walk near the forest edge. At first, the forest seemed normal, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the distant hoot of an owl. But then the quiet fell so thick it felt like a weight. The smell came next, a foul, musky stench that choked the air. Suddenly, I saw a movement, a hulking silhouette shifting between the trees. It was standing upright, at least 8 feet tall. Its fur was coarse and uneven, a patchwork of black and dark red stains, as if soaked in blood. Its face was a grotesque mix of man and beast, with eyes gleaming an unnatural yellow, filled with a cold, predatory cruelty. It didn't charge, just stared, unblinking and unmoving, like it was marking territory or sizing me up. When I moved, the creature followed with deliberate steps, never breaking the rigidity of its posture. I didn't dare speak or run. After what felt like hours, it turned and disappeared silently into the shadows. That night peeled back my certainty in what is real. The Blood Forest holds something dark, something beyond explanation, and I'm not going near it again. Witness Account 9, The Wilderness Guide's Oath. I'm Radu, 37, a wilderness guide who's led countless treks through these mountains. I know the land and its creatures well. I don't fall for ghost stories. But something in the Blood Forest breaks all that. It was late September, a cool, damp night with the moon swollen and red, bathing the forest in a strange glow. I was leading a group when I decided to scout ahead for a safe camp spot near the Blood Forest's edge. The forest was unnervingly silent. No bugs, no birds, just an oppressive hush. Then, there was a movement, too fast to be human, but walking upright. I caught its shape just between the trees, enormous, covered in black fur soaked in dark red stains. Its head was a nightmare blend, snout like a wolf but contorted, eyes glowing with a sentient, cruel light. It paused and looked at me, and I swear it understood me. The creature moved slowly, blocking the path back to camp. It was waiting. I stood still, heart hammering, until it finally turned and vanished. I never told my group what I saw. The Blood Forest doesn't forgive those who underestimate it. Witness Account 10, The Scholar's Forbidden Discovery. My name is Elena, 41, a historian researching occult folklore tied to Romanian forests. I'm skeptical by nature. Facts matter, not superstition. But what I encountered changed everything. It was late October, cold, the blood moon a perfect, sinister orb hanging in the black sky. I was alone, cataloging old ruins deep in the Blood Forest. The earth smelled of damp moss and rot, heavy, unshakable. As night fell, a silence blanketed the forest, swallowing every sound. Then I heard it, a low growl, deep and guttural, echoing like a warning. I turned and saw a massive shape emerge from the shadows. A towering figure cloaked and tangled, dark fur streaked with a rusty red. Its face was a mask of twisted humanity and savage beast, eyes burning bright yellow, sharp teeth bared just enough to reveal hunger. The creature moved with eerie control, balancing on 2 legs, muscles rippling under its grotesque fur. It fixed me with a gaze that felt ancient, as if it carried the weight of centuries. It didn't attack, but it didn't leave either, standing there in silent defiance. I fled into the night, heart racing, mind spinning with questions. Whatever this was, it was linked to the forest in ways I don't comprehend yet. I returned to my research with a new, dark urgency. Some truths are better left buried. These accounts, though from vastly different walks of life, mechanics, rangers, hunters, guides, and scholars, converge on one terrifying truth. Beneath the blood-soaked sky of that cursed moon, the blood forest breathed with unseen horrors that defy reason and reach into the deepest shadows of our world. This is not just a series of freak encounters. It's a glimpse into a debt the forest holds, ancient, wild, and relentlessly hungry. Each witness left changed, haunted by what they saw, feeling the weight of something that doesn't belong to the natural order. The Blood Forest Incident reminds us how fragile our understanding of the world truly is, how little we know about what may lurk just beyond the edges of our maps and memories. If you have your own story of the unknown, share it below. Like, subscribe, and join us as we peer deeper into the darkness that waits beyond the light. This has been Nightbound Bloodline. Thank you for listening. Until next time, sleep with one eye open. Yindi.